Cougar Camp All-Access gets downright defensive now with defensive lineman standout Remington Peck. Remington, I kind of feel like in the Bronco Mendenhall defense, the guys up front are the unsung heroes. You're the block eaters and the guys that have to go low and dig in the trenches. Do you like your role in the 3-4 defense?
It is a little different, you know. Some guys like the ideal 4-3 defense where you get a BF5 technique and rush off the sides. But like you said, in Coach Mendenhall's, 3-4 defense, that's what the D-line are made for. They're made to take a gap, and the nose guard to take 2 gaps and to plug holes. And honestly, I mean, even though sometimes they don't get the credit or we don't get the attention as much, we just try to do our jobs and let the middle linebackers make the tackles.
You throw that into the linebackers a little bit, like, hey, I ate up 2 blocks, just so
you're
you know.
Welcome.
Remember.
Oh no, yeah. Last year, Wani and I always had a thing. We'd always say, hey man, I'll just take on the block or you just make the tackle. So
I took on.
It's funny though.
I took on like 650 pounds. So yeah, just get the 200-pound running back. Good luck.
There are some questions about the defensive line this year. Obviously, you bring back a ton of experience, but you lose Ethan Manu-Maleuna and Bronson Kafusi moving back to linebacker. Who are the guys that are going to join you up front that are going to make an impact?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, think we're kind of young and inexperienced, but it's crazy when you think about Graham Rowley and Travis Tuiloma coming home from missions. I mean, those guys have played a lot of football, especially before their missions. And then when we get Marcus back after that first game, with those 4 right there, those are some guys that have played a lot of football. And I think after that, I think you're right. You know what I mean? There are some inexperienced guys, and we're going to need more guys than 4. And so there are some people, Logan Taele, Tomasi Laulile, or however you say it, and then Kesni Tausinga, that'll have to play some big minutes. And so we're just trying to get them up to beat.
Is it the hardest position group to pronounce? Is that what we've learned?
Yeah, I mean, any Polynesian name I struggle with. So.
Okay, well, speaking of names, your name is Remington. Is there a better name for a defensive lineman than Remington?
Where's Remington from?
Oh, my family's big into hunting, so it came from the gun, of course.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the name.
How has your role changed now that you're one of the more experienced guys? And like you mentioned, there's other RMs that are back, but you play a big role into what will happen this year.
Yeah, I think it's changed just as far as the, a little bit more of the teaching the younger guys and a little more of the lights on me, you know what I mean, kind of to be an example. And it's kind of weird to think of me as the old man, you know what I mean. I don't feel like that sometimes, but it's good. I've just been trying to be an example and help the younger guys, get the defense and teach a little bit about the culture.
Talking with old man Remington Peck, that is, BYU defensive lineman. The anticipation for this season is, I feel like, at an all-time high, just with all the transfers coming in and so much excitement surrounding this team and what they've done to bring this team together. What is it like in the locker room, you guys dealing with all this hype and not getting that outside of yourselves? How do you handle that?
It's crazy that you guys say that because I've said that all along in interviews, even preseason and stuff. There really is a different feel about this year. I don't know what it is, just amongst the guys and the way guys are with each other, and then on the field as well. You know what I mean? It just seems like everyone's closer, everyone clicks a lot more. But I think that is a struggle. Try to just keep it inside and keep that the feeling special because we don't want it out and thinking that we've already made it or whatever. But just to stick together, play together, and then love each other. And I think it's going to be a good year.
There's an interesting dynamic in fall camp. There's 2 teams. There is one, but there's 2 teams: the defense and the offense, and then those special team guys that hang out, right? So the defense, how much do you want the offense to actually succeed? Because they're the ones that are hopefully winning the games in the end with points.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly my favorite part about when fall camp ends. You know what I mean? Because when we're on the field, we literally hate each other. We really do, and it's funny. I go against DeAndre every day, and we played in a golf tournament last night, and it was cool to just actually be able to hang out with Dre. You know what I mean? The words on the field probably aren't the best things we should say to each other, but it's cool when fall camp ends and we can actually be friends again, when you're cheering each other on. But out there, I mean, in meeting room, we have, we try to go out there and not let the offense get a yard, so it can get a little heated.
You worked closely with Bronson on the defensive line. Now that he moves back to linebacker, what kind of things have you noticed as he's made the transition that make you think, yeah, he was good on the defensive line, but he can succeed as a linebacker as well?
Yeah, honestly, I think last year their biggest focus was just to get the best 11 guys on the field. And with Bronson's body, that's not the position he should play as defensive end. You know what I mean? He shouldn't be a 290 guy, even though he gets there easily. But with his speed and athleticism and moves off the edge, outside backer is where he needs to play. And so I've just noticed that. I've noticed that he feels a lot more comfortable, and with taking on blocks and that sort of stuff, who he's pass rushing against, I think there'll be a big difference with Bronson from last year to this year.
Did you ever get used to the increased amount of plays you guys had to play? I guess 238 more plays than the year before.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little hard. For all of us, it was hard, when 2 springs ago when the offense got installed by Coach and I mean, man, we were dead. Every day we were dead. And then when you go into the game, for me, honestly, it seems like it slows down a little bit. When you're playing against the offense out here, it's just like play, play, play. And against other teams, it's almost like it just slows down, and it's nice, So it's a little bit harder just because you're on a lot faster once you get off, but I think it's good the way we're training.
Remington, when you're in the trenches during a game, you talked about your relationship with DeAndre, and you guys are jabbering at each other. What's it like in an actual game scenario? How much talking happens between the teams in the trenches?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny because a lot of people ask that question, and I think it's different depending on who you're playing against. If you're playing against a rookie, it seems like there's a lot of talking. You know what I mean? They're trying to prove something. They want to be the tough guy. But if you're playing against a vet, someone that's played college football before, it's interesting. They're actually pretty cool. They really are. They'll go as hard as they can, but say they knock you down or you get knocked down, you'll help each other up. And so I've actually enjoyed that. When you're playing against an experienced guy, they're a better player anyways, but it's actually, they can be good guys as well.
It's also nice to knock a guy that won't stop talking on his rear end.
That's true.
Do you circle like left tackles on certain teams that you're like, okay, all right, let's go?
I mean, we'll go through the positions a little bit, but there's a few that you know you're going to have your hands full. But other than that, I mean, we don't really know anyone. So,
is there a guy on the schedule that you're like, okay, I look forward to the challenge?
A little bit. I mean, just you remember the games from last year, and I know Boise State has a good left tackle, and so I mean, just who comes to mind, it's fun. And then Utah State, just because of the rivalry, and I know the Wimpy boys pretty good, so yeah.
It's not on a dartboard or anything in your apartment?
No, not like that.
You have survived your BYU Sports Nation debut in Cougar Camp All-Access. Was it everything you hoped it would be?
Everything and more. Thanks, guys.